There we go.
We
hey,
found out about this not too long ago. Look, there are people that are already talking to us. That's incredible.
Yeah. I was pretty excited about it.
Yeah.
So, as a heads up, disgraced former chair, Angela McArdle is supposed to do a special announcement tonight. And as per her account, there will be a second part on the 8th, I believe is what it was. I will check really quickly here. On the 5th, I'm sorry. There will be a second part to this on the 5th, also at 8 p.m. So we will almost certainly have somebody live there to talk to you guys and let you know what's going on. So
I might be doing something on air every day this week then. As I'm simultaneously writing prelims, which are due on the 5th as well. It's an awesome week for me. Yeah, fundraiser. Hello everyone and welcome. I'm curious. First of all, I'm curious as to whether she will actually do this, because she has been talking about doing a lot of things lately and not actually done any of them. Whether that's been taking over various state parties or having a job. She might actually be announcing her job in the Trump administration. This might be it. We don't know. I'm honestly,
this could be her announcing only 2 more months until my job starts with the Trump administration.
Prepared for anything, and I want to hear your ideas, Kyle, and I want to hear the people's ideas about what you think she's going to be announcing and how late she will be in announcing it. She has a concept of a plan. That is true. What is the plan, though, Joe? What is the concept of the plan?
In this case, it may be an extra abstraction layer. She has the concept of a plan.
Concept, though, means that you can grasp it. That's why everyone always uses concept incorrectly, because concept is like, it's definitionally tangible. Does nobody understand words anymore?
No one understands what is being said. So I will do my best to toggle our comments on and off on screen so people can see them. Yeah. But also, in case she is showing things, I will do my best there.
Yeah, I mean, because she's going to have comments, we're going to have comments. It's going to be commentception.
Phil just pointed out that comments weren't showing up on screen. That's true. I had them turned off, but they are on now. Speaking of Phil, you're always welcome on here.
People have been speculating that this might be her response to get ahead of a report that's coming out on the investigation into our financial activities. We don't think that's the case, because that was very, very recently announced. And it seems like something that she would not know about, and possibly something that legally she would be advised not to comment on. So I'm going to go with probably not, but we don't know.
That one's interesting because, the LNC alluded to the fact that they had been asked to not release the special investigatory report, the special investigative committee report on McArdle previously. And as per God, Joe, I hope not. As per an email last night, announcement from Chair Nikayla, they intend to have a special meeting this coming Monday, the 9th, to adopt the report to, let everyone see it. It is 99 pages long. And so after and they said that would be an executive committee for the most part. We potentially will have a stream for that one. Not sure if it's going to be worth anything, but worst case, we'll sit and talk to you about things going on and speculate. For any LNC members for things, maybe they can come help us, come hang out with us. Those are the words I'm going for. But Chair Nikayla also said that after that report is adopted, they intend to release it. That is a very interesting thing. It suggests that there may be some work going on with Beth Fest, because our speculation previously has been that they weren't willing to release that report because of the ongoing derivative suit. So if they are to a point where there may be a settlement with Beth Vest. Maybe we can focus efforts on McArdle. I know that wouldn't be everyone's favorite thing to happen, because some people, as always, want as much violence against this LNC as possible. But personally, going after McArdle and moving forward is the thing that I would like to see the most. That is not everybody's opinion. That's not everyone's opinion to LP Alliance. That is purely my thought. I have had this argument even all the way in the board chat, where I've gotten yelled at about it, because there are people who are still in the LNC who have been bad actors. But I very much believe that showing how bad the snake's head is, and then banning snakes in the future via votes, is the way to handle snakes.
I'm fine with having snakes in our. I want to be zootically inclusive here. I don't see why we have to have a human only LNC if the snakes are going to do a better job. And after the way that the humans have behaved the past couple of decades, I am ready for a snake-centric board. And I stand by that. Joe, I agree with you, and that is why I think we are both. Joe says ignoring McArdle is my preference, and I think that's why we both disapproved of the convention theme for next year. Freedom calls. Yeah, I think Joe and I were in agreement on this.
Okay, I'm with you now. When you said we both, I thought you meant me, and no, I'm all for this party.
Only Joe, only cisgendered heterosexual snakes are allowed. I like spiders too. Kyle has had me text him asking what spiders liked to eat and being very sad when he told me that spiders do not in fact like to eat broccoli and they only eat meat. I put a piece of broccoli next to a spider, a house spider that found its way into a corner and wanted to be my friend. And I had nothing else to offer it. So I just had to wait for bugs to come, which was, morally difficult for me because, then the bugs are getting eaten. You guys are glad you're watching this version of the stream. I know you are. I know you are. Oh, come on. Rachel, aren't you in the Radical Caucus too? Susan loves spiders.
Oh man, you're just campaigning against Susan at this point.
Well, I bet everyone knows that Susan likes spiders. That's one of the first things I learned about her.
Hi, I'm Susan Hogarth. Bunnies. I like spiders.
I mean, pretty much. That was pretty much my introduction to her. It's not that far from it, actually.
All right, so I have a story about bunnies here while we're waiting.
Please don't make it a sad story about bunnies.
I find it funny. An ex-girlfriend had a pet rabbit, and it was she was taking it for a walk. I'm serious, in a harness. And rabbit hopped and jerked her off of her feet, breaking her collarbone. And so nice. for the rest of this woman's life, when she talks about rabbits, she has to explain that a little bunny broke her collarbone, which is just kind of the greatest explanation of a way to break a collarbone. It's not like, I was playing football, I got hit really hard.
Pretty great.
No, it's like, I was taking my rabbit for a walk at hippity hoppity. My collarbone went poppity.
I can't find it in myself to find rabbits cute. I mean, I like rabbits because I like all animals, but I don't find them cute. And I recognize that makes me very strange, but I think they're one step above guinea pigs in terms of aesthetics. And that's a very, very low floor.
We have gotten a private guess on what could be announced supposedly right now, but who would have guessed she's not on time? There's a guess that she will be having Musk's 15th love child. Feels fair. That sounds like a thing to be on the bingo board. Joe, as someone who's married, I think my wife, who is an animal, is cute.
Joe, don't you think that Kyle's cute? Thought you said that last night.
Not right now. Scruffy. We don't know yet, Free. We're gonna see if you won.
Still waiting.
It's
I think we're live.
There we go.
I think we are too.
Checking to see. Oh, yep, there's viewers.
No
There's
glasses.
viewers, and we should also be live on the National. I'm so used to saying California Mises Caucus. The National Mises Caucus
Check something here.
channel as well on YouTube and on X. The artist formerly known as Twitter. My big announcement is I got a haircut. Just kidding. I did get a haircut though.
I wouldn't put it past her.
Which one?
While we're waiting on more people to tune in, let me talk about that.
Oh, you got
really
5
boring
watching
and
right
uninteresting.
now.
I had my
for
hair
you.
cut like this, like basically my whole life.
Rachel says that she looks good with
when I
bangs. My
decided
argument
to
is that
run
anytime
for
a woman ends up with
Congress,
bangs, she's lost her mind.
2017, I thought I should grow my
Isn't this
bangs
a
out
bang?
because I looked like I was about 12
You might
years
have
old.
one bang rather than bangs.
And nobody would take me seriously.
I used to
And
have
recently
bangs.
I realized, there's been a lot of years that have gone by, and I think I'd like to go back to looking a little bit younger. So I went back to my normal haircut, the one that I had for 30 plus years of my life. So there's that. So let's jump into it. Let's jump into some of the more
That's a
serious
cringe.
announcements.
Damn it,
I have a
Phil.
lot of stuff to talk about. Bitcoin, Maha, Mises Caucus, Libertarian Party, some of the drama, although I'm not going to get into detail as much of it as the gadflies, the midwits would like. Roger Ver, pardons, presidential draft 2028,
She's done like free
coalition
association.
strategy, all kinds of really good things.
This is
all
this
kinds
is not
of
what a
really good things.
special
So let me
announcement
start by
is,
saying,
Angel.
I
It's special.
recently
It
attended
is special.
the Bitcoin conference, which was amazing. I met a lot of amazing libertarians and anarcho-capitalists there, a lot of people who are liberty-minded. It's like, I'll never forget.
It's like there are a lot of
Joe Weiss
ANCOMs during
said
Bitcoin.
this on, I think, on the Tom Woods
Ton.
show many years ago when
Oh
he
man,
ran
she's
for
already
vice presidential
named a groomer.
slot with
She went
what's
with
his name?
Maha
Antivirus
because
guy.
also
Yeah.
RFK has been suggested
he
as a
said
groomer.
he said the Libertarian Party is like the dog kennel of the liberty movement, and that we get all the mean bad dogs that bite and they
Oh,
bite
yeah.
the other dogs and they
I
bite
like
people,
this. I'm getting called a
and we
bad
put
dog.
them in the LP dog kennel so that they don't go out and bite all of the good dogs. And every time I attend a liberty event outside of the LP, it just really resonates with me. I think Judd said that back in like 2016. And
Then
so
go.
it's painfully true. People at Bitcoin were classy, they were focused, they were working really hard on achieving liberty in their lifetimes. They put their money where their mouth is. They have money. They're responsible,
Meredith's taking a shot at me
for the
too with
most
this
part.
one.
Some of them take
Apparently I need
risks,
bangs.
but it was a really great event. It was a really great event, and we are definitely going to be
I didn't
doing
say
some recruiting there.
Who is we?
I got to
Does anyone know who
meet
we are?
Ross Ulbricht, which
Hammer
was really
and sickle.
surreal. That was really nuts. To
Remember, she's a
get
big
correspondence
trumper.
from someone in prison and then meet them face to face. Yeah, it was amazing.
Not a damn
the
thing.
work that we did in the dog kennel, it does matter. We
No.
helped get someone free from prison. There's been a lot
Oh,
of talk
fuck
about who
off.
gets credit for what. There have been people have pressured me like, well, why don't you share the screenshots of your messages with the administration? Well, because that would be really tacky and
Because
burn
there
my
aren't
bridges
any.
with them. That's not a good thing to do. I understand
This
though that
motherfucker.
autism and lack of social skills makes it difficult for people to understand that. And so bless your heart. But yeah, we put in the work and it absolutely mattered.
She got a haircut, Hody. That's
a
the
lot
big
of other people
announcement.
put in work too. I mean,
Not
went
even
over it.
joking.
If she hadn't been pounding the pavement and attending conventions and conferences all over the country
It's
for
so
a
weird
decade,
though, because didn't you say this
nobody
was
would've
your
cared.
victory lap? Was it her victory? Was it
she
Lynn's?
did like
Because you
10
didn't
years
mention
worth of
Lynn
work
in your
and then
victory
just
lap
sort of
post.
chuck the baton across the finish line. So the work that she did there was amazing, and she deserves a lot of credit for that. David Bailey of the Bitcoin conference also did a lot of really important advocacy work. Roger Stone did as well. I think President Trump probably went to Roger Stone and asked him, You know, what do you think about this Ross guy? And Roger really helped to push it across.
Wait, you think? Don't you know? Like, don't you talk to him all the time?
And then everybody who showed up and voted.
Exactly.
Everybody who showed up and voted. People in the LNC who hate me, they, trash me now. They go after me. The fact that they didn't, they actually did try to stage a coup against me before the convention. But the fact that they were able to rein it back in,
nobody hates you.
Not.
We find you
hate when she talks.
Libertarian Party messaging up until the inauguration day. That's
for those unaware. The staging of a coup was that some of the Mises folks,
everybody who kept
tried to convince Mises that instead of backing this dead horse again, Stephen Nikela should be backed.
Talking to your friends,
that is the coup that she's talking about.
Vote for Trump.
That's all she's got.
Single issue.
I've staged 2 coups in my life so far. I know one is successful, and one unsuccessful. I know a coup, and I see one that was not a coup.
He deserves our vote.
Play about both of them.
He did it. Promises made, promises kept.
It's
and so I'm just really
Nick
happy
Sarwark was chair.
To have been a part of it
in 2019.
And to have,
Trump announced that he would look into Ross, and that if he was reelected, Ross would be freed.
And get in to shake his hand.
Massey got the promise in 2020.
I am doing some
Rand got the promise.
Advocacy.
The Bitcoin conference got the promise.
Roger Ver.
And she's still taking credit for it. Oh my God, the grit.
They're both libertarians. Roger ran.
I almost respect it.
As a libertarian candidate in California for, I believe, a state assembly race in 2000 or 2001.
68.
He is one of ours. And I'm going to be there for him, and I'm advocating for him. And I hope that you all will advocate for him too. He's got a petition. Please go and sign it. Please show him some support, regardless of your feelings on Bitcoin Cash. Bitcoin, big blocker, small blocker. The man doesn't deserve to be in prison.
That's true.
Yeah, but if he does this again, he's going to get deported to El Salvador.
Show some support.
Right.
Same
Trump
with
has
Freeman.
said
Ian does not deserve to be in prison. Ian and I have had disagreements on Twitter before. He's had a lot of Twitter disagreements. I would ask you to put that aside and treat him like a human being and show up for him and for libertarians and for free staters and say, this man doesn't deserve to be in prison. He deserves to be free. He should be at home with his family, with his wife. No more putting people in prison. And please do not equate disagreements you've had with people on social media. Please don't think of that as an excuse to see someone punished cruelly.
Exactly correct, Rachel.
I've spoken with some other members of the Crypto Six about what it's like to be in prison. It's pretty awful. So yeah, there's that. I was able
how to survive prison,
advocating for them at Bitcoin, and I think it went really well. And I just feel really optimistic, and I'm really grateful to people who walked me around and helped me make additional connections.
Trump is seeking the death penalty for drug dealers. He's sending American citizens
to El Salvador, including if you were,
he said legal immigrants. He just had
not fully on board
thousands
with
of
what I was
immigrants'
saying.
legal status canceled.
People.
And she's sitting here and going on about how great he is for the Liberty Movement. Gag me.
Let's see. I've also been doing a lot of chatting with the Maha crowd. Maha crowd, you are awesome. And the work that you've been doing is phenomenal. And I know that some of you are very frustrated with how slowly things are moving the administration. And I want to say that I publicly stand by Robert F. Kennedy Jr. He's got a very difficult job. It's difficult to navigate all of the.
It's just like an acceptance speech rather than
and then there's the handshake.
It's a terrible acceptance
You have
speech.
to do this, or else I won't let this happen. And that
Kennedy
happened in the influence game, and he's got to navigate both. And it's his first time doing it, and I think he's working really damn hard.
Is that the same picture that was not hung up in the last live stream?
And I know that we're all frustrated. Yes. That the COVID shot schedule hasn't changed.
It's had a couple months to hang that picture up.
Believe me, I feel your pain, but we need to rally and show support and not tear him down. And that's my opinion. And maybe you have a different opinion, and we'll have to disagree. If you want to see change, we need to support this man. And if you want to
Liberty
throw some bombs,
probably written by AI.
Don't throw them at him. Throw them at the people who are holding him up. And on that note,
it's me. I'm holding him up.
There are some senators that we need to be going after in the midterms.
No, there are not senators that
I think we're going
we need to be going after.
Liz,
we're gonna
that's
hold a
not a
draft
joke.
of the
Yes,
senators that
she
we're
announced.
going
She said that
after.
her special
Who should we
announcement
go
was that
after?
she got
We
bangs.
do not have the resources.
And then she
in
said,
the
"Just kidding,"
Libertarian
but I don't
Party,
think she was
in the
kidding.
Mises
There
Caucus,
hasn't
in
been an
Maha,
announcement
in Bitcoin,
apart from that.
Well, maybe in Bitcoin, but I think they're hodling, until their deathbed. But we don't have the resources to go after every single senator. We have to just go pick like 1 to 3 at most. So we need to be
give you
thinking
an idea
very
of how popular she
about
is at this
that.
point.
Who
We
is
have over
making
5
it
times as
hard
many viewers as she does.
for RFK Jr.? Who is making it hard for Donald Trump? Who's not codifying Doge? Who's fighting it? I don't mean who voted on the big beautiful bill, because I know as libertarians, it's not a big beautiful bill to libertarians. I get it. I get it. My job, by the way,
has
is
to
eat
explain
shit
that
and move
she
things
gets
forward. And so on all the things that libertarians disagree with the Trump administration on, I just get to eat the shit. And you should be grateful that I do, because that's why I will maintain a good relationship with the administration. Because if there are things I disagree with them on, I can live with it, because I'm here to advance liberty.
I wish Rose was up here.
That's what I
Rose
want
to be
to
up
do.
here too.
And
Rose,
some
Kyle
of the
has a hard
people
stop
who are really
at 9,
holding
so you better
things
get your butt up here.
who really hate libertarianism, like they're just like, let's burn all the children in Gaza. Let's jam you full of COVID shots. Like all of that terrible stuff. We should go after them. So let's pick our top few worst ones, and let's go after them. So we'll be doing
This one's Uber order is going to be really late if she doesn't get to her announcement soon.
Leave that up for a few minutes.
Thing to discuss.
Yeah, absolutely, we can.
Let me walk back in history a little bit so that you can sort of understand how I got to this position.
Going to go back in history. That's great. I want to start with an anecdote about Frederick
the
the Great.
Chair in
You
late
resigned.
January.
You were forced to resign.
Under the assumption that I was jumping immediately to another job.
Who created that assumption? That was you. You said that.
Which I'm still going
to go back to this one, but
some of you
this is
may
an accurate
have
comment.
caught on that the hiring process is taking a little bit longer than anticipated. God bless them. And we hope that
she's still going with the script.
But
I told you.
I realize at the same time, it has given me an opportunity
to write a book,
to do a lot more work outside of that apparatus. If you're picking up what I'm putting down.
I'm not.
And so while I am waiting for this job to start, and there are a lot of people in my position waiting on jobs to start, please don't lose faith. It doesn't mean the jobs aren't happening. It just means hiring is very slow. So while I'm waiting on that job to start, on the phone, I have decided to step into the role as the chair of the National Libertarian Party Mises Caucus.
Hiding
I
our
am your
comments
new
for a
chair.
second.
Congratulations. I will be working from technically outside of the party apparatus to advance liberty, to organize issue coalitions.
There's her actual thing. She is the chair of Mises.
Any peaceful means. And so to that extent, I extend a formal invitation to the Maha crowd, and to the Bitcoiners.
Given who she is, she believes the MC is bigger than the LP.
And you can have your own caucus.
So her chair of MC to her is a step up.
We'll break out the mechanics of that. We'll get into it, and I'm going to
She's
talk about it with
an invitation to how many people? How many people are getting this invitation right now?
And at Freedom
Not through us.
Yeah.
The party's ballot access infrastructure is a valuable tool. It is a valuable tool. We have an incredibly powerful voting.
She's extending the invitation to 18 people.
So does Maha.
Oh, she's already past her peak. She hit 20 at one point.
What can you do within the structure of ballot access to impact the midterms and to advance your agenda?
We are totally
where do our
with you.
agendas align?
100%.
Codifying Doge. Bitcoin strategic reserve? Maybe. Getting rid of COVID
we have literal still currently sitting Mises members who are part of LP Alliance.
There's some really powerful things that we can do.
Pretty much anybody who's been in the Liberty movement working with us. We're starting to reach out to other countries.
Now,
and she's talking about
what about
trying to restart a caucus.
Susan, if she did, she should actually ask for that embezzled money back.
I have brought this up a few times. I'm going to bring it up one more time. I want you to fully understand what I'm offering.
I freed Ross.
I think there are some people in the party, maybe including some people in the Mises Caucus,
no one else,
who are the pejorative, as we use the term party justice warrior. You are, for better or worse, rabid ideologues. You instead of going to church Sunday morning and opening the Bible, you open the platform, you open the bylaws.
As demonstrated by who has more viewers now.
A lot about what's happening in the Middle East. You don't want the United States funding Israel's war genocidal, maybe.
For a moment there,
war
we had 10
in
times
Gaza.
the viewers she
You don't
did.
like it. I want you to think about this, and I'm not throwing stones because I think people didn't realize the opportunity existed. They didn't realize it existed, so we're not passing judgment.
You worked to
But we are
destroy
going to take
the
this
opportunity.
painful learning lesson to heart. Dave Smith talks a lot. He's very passionate about
He
foreign
does talk a
policy.
lot.
He cares a lot. He's
He
sincere.
talks a lot.
He knows his stuff. He's authentic. Like he's the guy, right? Like he and Scott Horton.
He's authentic.
Scott is like the
He's
big
actually that much of a
brain,
dick.
and Dave is the mouth. Well, what if one of them had been our
mouth to
presidential
you.
candidate? And what if one of them had
You were
done
the
what
one
Kennedy
that
did
ran Dave
and he had
off.
dropped out in exchange for maybe some foreign policy concessions?
She is
Because
telling
you
you
think Dave
that she
Smith
wanted our
pull
fucking
just
candidate to
1%
drop out
of the
now.
race?
She
I don't
is
think so.
openly.
I
I mean,
he'd
like,
pull
but we
out
all knew that. We all
1%.
knew that.
And
Right.
I think
This
that
is one of
he
the things
would
that
have-
was
if he had
in,
run, he would have made
Joe?
the derivative suit.
Joe, she's not
you
an
know, I don't
authority on
want that,
sincerity, but she is sincerely
that's
an
political
authoritarian.
leverage. So I invite you, members of MAHA, members of the Bitcoin community, Mises Caucus members, libertarians
that
who
are
are
left
generally
after she ran them
aligned
off.
with, most
Like
of those
20.
things. I invite you to start thinking right now who you want to run for president, because we in the Libertarian Party Mises Caucus are going to launch a presidential draft. Think about
You are
how much
damned right,
money,
Meredith.
millions and
Damn right.
millions of dollars, you pump into a presidential campaign, a Republican or a Democrat, the likely winner. You pump millions of
Chase is
dollars.
also
into
How much
their
money did we
campaigns,
pump into
hoping
your
and
front group?
pleading that your asks will stick? That's how it works. You donate millions and millions of dollars, and you hope
Exactly
that
right, Hody.
the
A lot of
politician
things
you
stick to
donated
my
to
ass.
does the things he promises to you.
Oh,
Or
for those who are
you can
interested
spend a
in the
lot
kind of
less.
people who are
you could
looking
spend
at
a lot
her,
less.
Jeremy
You could
Kaufman for
get on
U.S.
the
Senate's in
ballot,
her chat, giving
and
you
could have
a
the power
lovely
to drop
slur.
or not.
Oh yeah, look at that.
If they
Look
don't
at her chat.
want to play ball with you.
She's
He's the
pushing
one
for
who's-
Mises to
don't-
you know
become
what?
the Liberty
A
movement.
bunch
He's
of
the only
local
one who's
activists
playing that game too.
who are not
Like
who are
usually when
underfunded.
trolls do it, it's a
don't
bunch
need
of
you to
them
run.
respond.
It doesn't mean
It's
your
just him.
contributions aren't valuable. They are. Your
She just
contributions are
told
totally
you that
valuable.
was her plan.
But what I need is
I mean,
people
I-
who can.
That's what I
This-
said a long
need
time
people
ago.
who
Okay, I'm gonna give
already
myself
have a
credit
big
here. This is
platform.
my victory lap. I
need
said
people who are charismatic and
a long
outspoken.
time ago
I need
that
you
when
to
Dave
step
found
up
out that
and
that
be
was the
willing
plan,
to run
that's
for
when he dropped
president
out of the race.
and
He's
consider
like,
dropping
no.
out and endorsing in exchange for something like a cabinet position, spot on the transition team. It might be
That
temporary,
strategy
right?
only
Some
works
bit of
once, and it
influence.
doesn't work once.
That's what we
because
need to be
then they
doing.
know you'll do
That's
it.
the strategy I'm adopting.
And you don't have the leverage to begin
and
with.
let's go forward and do it. Imagine
Oh
how
my
powerful
God.
it would be to have a sound
The
money
belief in the
Austrian
kingmaker strategy is an
econ,
IQ test.
you
Mark
know,
me.
Bitcoin billionaire running for president with a
Ugh.
hardcore
Let's see, do we have
Maha,
the asset up at the moment?
like
It's a
anti-COVID
Classic, like inability to think about
propaganda
second or third
scientist
order
running for
effects.
VP. It would be an incredibly powerful ticket, and I think we could get a lot done. So think about that.
You weren't able to get a
And,
lot done when you
heaven
had
forbid that
the biggest
we don't
third
see
party.
like a more libertarian, like evolved JD Vance run. We see like a Mitt Romney run. I don't think we're dropping out of that race. So you have the power to fix the country.
I'm going to choose to
Don't
mishear that,
ever
and that she's not dropping out of the Mitt Romney
underestimate
race. Bring back 2012,
so
y'all.
There you go. We need IQ minimums for the LNC.
We do, and the test is, do you believe in the...
I think that's right. I
kingmaker
don't know if that's
strategy?
actually Jeremy or if it's someone parodying him, but that's fine. I see some
If that is someone
towering.
parodying Jeremy,
Oh, it's
Thank
not
you.
actually Jeremy. That makes me sad. All right, we'll put you in their timeout.
oh, I'm sad that the
Goodbye.
person who
Yeah,
spelled out
Will
a
Hobson says
slur
it would have
wasn't
saved
real.
lives. Yeah, it would have saved lives. I think
Link
that
her
so
stream,
many people.
Turtle, or
I think so many people just
Hmm.
like they don't really think about it. Someone says, "I joined the LPMC to advance pragmatism." Go, Angela.
You know
I
what's
think
funny
that a
is
lot of
they
people like that.
they became
Joined.
they
the
market
party
themselves
to
as the
advance, like,
anti-prags.
creepy, like, kind of pedo stuff.
And then I
And
began calling them the
so,
neo-prags. This is
we
my
don't
victory
want
lap.
that.
It caught on.
We don't want that kind of behavior. Bye bye. I think a lot of people like they they conflate anti-government with like anti-authority,
Orthodox
including
more
like
up. He's got a
anti-natural
funny comment.
hierarchy and anti-sanity, and
That's what
it's just icky.
anarchism is. Genius.
So yeah, no furries.
This announcement could have been an email.
Zone.
Yeah,
it's very icky. All right, more announcements.
First of all, you said one announcement. It's singular.
There's some
Secondly,
drama with me and the LNC as all this was going.
Really
down.
is a front for you showing off your new haircut, isn't it?
I
Because
was
it's all be an email.
extremely sick, which I don't talk about publicly because I don't think it's a good signaling mechanism. So I just didn't get into it. I was spending a lot of time in bed recovering from.
That is literally what she
Crohn's
just
flare.
said, Susan.
But there are a couple of people on the LNC who on social media have accused me of embezzlement, which is defamatory.
She is specifically a Hoppe and ANCAP, so she believes in classes and hierarchy.
Filing a lawsuit is really exhausting and pretty
that's not
soul-crushing,
my thought.
and I still do a little bit of litigation
arguments
on
with
the
Hoppians,
side.
but what
I really
she just
enjoy
said
it, but not
is
for me.
way
it's
beyond
you get
the
to drag all your personal matters out in discovery. It costs money. It costs time. It's just generally unpleasant. I think that what we should do
Felony
is we should have a
lawsuit.
good working relationship together. You know,
Just
we
use the
should
phrase
not
felony
write
lawsuit.
libelous reports about each other. We shouldn't sue each
felony
other. You know,
lawsuit.
that goes for me too. It's like, trust me, I've thought about it. I think and by the way, like I have a really good relationship
in
with like
pretty much all the
half
ways,
LNC.
Joe. She's
I'm not mad
poor
at
victim
Andrew
actor.
Watkins, Andrew
and a poor
Chatterton,
victim actor.
Austin, Region 1 is like solid, you know. Travis, I have still a good relationship
Thank
with
you.
staff. Like
I appreciate
it's not
that.
like I'm at war with the LNC.
As a regional
There's just
organizer and
handful of
secretary.
people who have been, you know, like nasty and kind of abusive towards me.
Endorsed by
And
the
it's like
Mises
whatever,
Caucus.
you know, I'm a grown-ass woman. I can handle myself.
Are you?
But I did not.
No, you can't. You had to steal from an organization,
go to war with them
and you had to
when I was
freaking
really ill.
ride a
It's just
freaking
not- that's not
Austin's
what's
dick
gonna
on it.
help me recover.
Oh my
And,
God.
I was like right on the edge of having to go to the hospital and just kind of squeaked out.
That's
So I
The
will
part where
say
she's
that
sick
chairing the
is
National
terrible.
Party is really stressful. Having people sue you and you're kind of wondering, you know, like I was wondering the whole time, like the Trump administration was just a class act. They were so great, but it's still in the back of my mind. I'm thinking, am I going to get like the BLM treatment that like how Biden treated BLM? Am I going to get that? Like, you know, it's like
Hodie's balls.
goes to me like, what? You know, so it's kind of stressful, you know, because
Odie,
like, I was
if
like
the suit
gambling
comes
with
at you,
someone's
let us
life.
know. We'll do a full interview about it.
Not to be crass, but that's really what it felt like. And shit got very real, you know, towards the end. It's like I heard from Ross and then, you know, like friends with his mother. And I'm just like, this has got to like, so many people are depending on me to pull this off. So it's like, you just keep your mouth shut when people are attacking you behind the scenes, trashing you as Ross is walking out of prison. You know, it's just like, you just have
That
to
is a
eat the
justice
shit if you want to
issue,
be in charge.
Not
There's no way around
liberty
it. Like,
issue.
that's what you have to do.
She doesn't.
And
doesn't
I'm
understand the
very good
difference.
at that.
I know she doesn't.
And I'm still willing to eat the shit,
Center.
you know, and I'm not going to name any names, but I think that the people in the LNC who hate my guts should bury the
Nobody
hatchet,
hates your guts.
and we should have a professional working relationship. I have not
Not
asked
important
anyone to
enough
pull their
to
donations,
hate
and I
guts.
won't. I haven't told people to stop donating. I have not been making calls to the big donors like I had anticipated I would do.
You didn't do that when you were chair.
You know, I still support the party. I still pay. I have a small monthly donation to the party still ongoing. I think it's an incredibly effective tool. I just think it's been in the wrong hands for many years. And I hope that you guys see I delivered results. And that was with an absolute like garbage.
That is not nice.
That's like Chase Oliver. God bless him. He did the best job. Like it couldn't have gone any better with him, you know.
What a scumbag.
You know, like sabotage, you know, disgruntled board members,
psycho, the thing she's calling
pink hair
about.
lady. Like we still got something. So imagine how amazing it would be if we had a deck of people who didn't care. They don't read hater blogs. They don't care about drama. We either get rid of the JC entirely, or like we have people on the JC who just don't mess with things, right? Like they just don't take.
It was a full slate of her people. The LNC was a full slate of her people.
Why do we have so many JC appeals? Oh, because people that aren't engaged in real world activism. It's just like how we have all these policy manual amendments. Policy manual, bylaws, policy manual. No, like get people free out of prison. Change the COVID schedule shot.
It is true for sure that Chase was on a ship
Codify
where
Doge.
this idiot
Defend
that
the
we're
guard.
watching right now
Those are the
was
things you
in
need to be
there with a
calling.
power drill,
Passing
drilling holes in the
Leslie's,
ship as fast as she could.
medical freedom bill. And
You know,
Idaho.
when this is
Things
interesting
like
because
that.
what she
Don't-
signals she wants
no
to do
one
at the
gives a shit. Your policy
LNC,
manual doesn't
this
change
is her
anybody's life,
forecasting
you
what
know?
she
And
thinks.
I say this from a place
take her
of
political
being somebody
analysis
who
for what it's
used to
worth.
behave this
What
way.
she thinks Trump
Like, when
wants to
I
do
joined the
for
party,
things.
and a lot of this
She
is like,
loves
it's like
Donald
nature
Trump.
versus
Like she wants
nurture,
to
you
be
know?
Donald
When I
Trump.
joined the party, I joined a social club. And I was critical of it, but at the same time, I engaged in a
You
lot of
genuinely
the same
made it
behavior.
into
I
a
wanted to have
social
the
club.
best libertarian meetups.
Very
I did. I
exclusionary,
had
very
amazing
purist,
meetups
very
in
hall
LA.
monitor.
I wanted
She's
to have like
talking
the
about
coolest
libertarian meetups
events
and about how it's
I
not a
am an
social
event
club.
planner. I'm still going to have amazing events.
I joined a social
Stick
club.
around
I
for
kept
part
it
two
from being a
announcement
social
on
club by
Thursday.
scheduling meetups.
I engaged in a lot of the law
We
book
went
behavior.
bowling.
You know, it was hardcore purity testing people, telling them they're stupid, retarded statists. You know, it took experience and learning to understand that that's not how you advance liberty. Murray Rothbard went through the same thing, by the way. And this is
Murray
in my book,
Rothbard
which I
also
am
became a
editing right
Republican
now.
who rode
He was
hyper
so
racist ass.
critical.
He was all about Lou Rockwell and
Ed
fucking
Crane's
David Duke.
presidential run in 1980. He was so critical. He just tore him up for the whole New Camelot thing for trying to emulate Kennedy. He was like, "This
my
is so
God.
unlibertarian. It's not radical.
Don't-
You guys
don't
are
do that to
trash."
Free.
He's long,
Like,
long,
No, man.
scorching
If
polemic about
Free
the
could get
campaign.
McArdle on Are You
And 10
Smarter Than
years
a
later, what's he
Politician,
working with
I would
Republicans. Late Rothbard
give her
is what
so
we're not
many
supposed
points.
to talk about.
Free, if you do,
He, like, you
Can
know,
I be
whenever
a
I think
contestant?
about how I behaved then,
I'm for
like
this.
2017 to 2019 in the party, I just am like, it's okay. Rothbard did it too. Rothbard did it too. He was a member of the Radical Caucus, which is like, you know, kind of
No,
cringe now.
he was
Sorry.
a member of the
So,
Rothbard Caucus,
yeah.
which became the Radical Caucus, the first Radical Caucus.
Pietro. Jeez.
She just
Pietro
took Pietro.
Garacci is like a creepy dude who has posts like about being like drunk, and he's a teacher. He's like a gay teacher who his behavior is questionable. That's
Oh,
the kind
gay
of
teachers.
that's the kind of stuff we
see,
gotta get out of the
libertarians
party.
hate gay teachers.
The people who
and gay people.
behave in strange ways and they talk about how they're
You know,
around
you're
kids,
behind this huge
got to
push
go.
to not have gay marriage
Got to
legalized.
go.
Pietro is an
this guy's really
interesting
sad.
individual.
This guy's really mad about me too. I'm really sorry. The thing is, if
Guys,
you want to be a purity
go jump her
tester,
shit.
like you can
It's
do
not
that,
worth
and
it.
you can be the purest, truest libertarian in the world, but you'll never affect change. You know,
Ugh.
so people like me are going to go and we're going to advance the ball.
Literally anyone in
Because
this
what were
chat,
Biden and
I would
Harris
love to
doing
watch
is
debate McCarthy.
nothing,
Anywhere.
jack shit.
On anything.
you
It could
know?
be on the like
I told people we're
importance
not
of
going to get foreign
Cheerios
policy
to
this time,
America.
but we could, if you're willing to engage.
Yes,
and
Joe,
put
she
forward
did.
a really strong candidate.
She said someone was a
Yes,
gay
McAfee,
teacher
that's
as like
whose name
evidence
I-
of
And
how
that
they suck.
people
Forgot
need
to
to keep the
mention
weird people like that away
earlier.
from
So
kids.
yeah, let's people who are not creepy around children. People who don't have to go into a hugging box every time they have a disagreement. People who aren't totally insane.
I'd love to see Sarah debater.
We should work together. Martha Bueno and I, by the way, who used to hate each other, we work very well together. It can be done. It can be
Martha
done.
Bueno still
If
doesn't
you
like you.
care
She still talks
about
about all the
advancing
crap you
liberty,
do.
You can work.
She
with
worked
someone.
with you
to
get
Twitter
Ross
fights
free.
they're not real life. You can work with
McArdle
people, 'cause I work with
literally
Martha
wouldn't work
in
with
real life.
any of us when
And she's
all of
like
us offered
ride or
help,
die
and then
now,
she kept
so.
lying about everybody, saying
Props to
everyone
Martha
quit on her.
Bueno, who also really was like a great friend to Lynn, and definitely I would give her credit for helping get Ross out of prison. What other really exciting
This
things
clown.
do I have to announce? I think people still wonder just generally, like, why would I use a third party? Why not just go the Republican route? I think I've talked about it a little bit, but I think I have some other things I would really like to share about it.
You're exactly
I've-
right, Chase.
I think I've
I
explained
really
it, but
feel,
never mind.
and this isn't going to matter to some of you, so whatever. I really felt going into the 2024 election, like it was a very miserable, unpleasant experience. Planning the convention was awesome. In spite of the drama and the little coup.
If
temper
planning it
tantrum
was
that
awesome,
happened
how
right
did you
before.
do it that
was-
mediocrely?
Planning the convention was wild, right? Like getting to work closely with the Trump campaign, like
There we go.
seeing how a professional campaign really runs. But mostly it was really stressful. People hating me,
This is also
creepy,
why
like, kid
no
diddler
one
types,
who is
accusing me of things.
never worked on
I'm
any
like,
presidential
wow, like,
campaign should
that's
be the
pot
person we're
calling the
considering for
kettle.
chair.
Well,
Like,
but I just
Doug
felt
Craig
like there
from
was a
Georgia
reason I was supposed to
worked
be there,
on
right?
Ron
Like,
Paul's
I felt
campaign.
like
It was run out of
God
his
was
shop
putting
in
me there.
Georgia
And it's like, well, why?
for the
It's not
2012
about
campaign.
the Libertarian Party being so awesome. It's like God is
Exactly,
going
Meredith.
to use this tool to make something incredible happen.
Oh, she's Moses again.
Okay. Like, those of you who are Christians, and I would extend that to people who believe in God, LDS, whatever, you believe in God. I think you understand what I mean.
Christians or LDS.
God will use whoever or whatever he wants to advance his agenda. And you don't really get to, like, choose. Like, you have free will, you can reject it, but you don't get to tell God what to do.
Look, less
And he doesn't do
charismatic
opinion
and
polls
culture.
because he's God,
Oh my God.
He doesn't care if you're the third largest.
I just realized it just hit
political
me.
party, full of
Less
autists
charismatic and culture.
people with narcissistic personality disorder.
Hody, she's
He
been
doesn't
talking
care
about.
if you're, like, a poor activist. He
That's
doesn't
fair,
care
Chase.
if you're, like, a wealthy Bitcoiner.
She's been talking about
He can use
how
whatever he wants.
we
In
all
fact,
have
if
to
you
just
look
bury
into
the
the Old
hatchet with
Testament, he
Trump and
also
just give
used, like,
Trump
to
big old
get
cuddles.
things done,
And
wind, locusts,
RFK
and
Jr.
frogs.
gets.
So God will use what he wants.
You're not
including
wrong,
a whale,
Meredith.
a
It's
literal whale, not just a Bitcoin whale. God can use a
Right,
woman.
Free?
That there's a lot of. I feel like it doesn't, like, it's almost like a meme to call something toxic. There is a lot of kind of toxic
as a Christian,
backlash
yes.
against women in
God is in the room with me
positions of
right
leadership right now,
but not in the way
because
she's
the
seeing
culture
it.
became so thoroughly fucked with feminism, and
Oh
gender
my
roles
God.
have been so grossly reversed. But it doesn't mean that every woman in leadership should be at home doing nothing.
Pietro bagpipes are a little
Like,
creepy.
it's just not everybody's destiny. God
Pietro,
God uses people in different ways.
We know about you. We know about your campaign for
I think
next
it was
year.
in the Book of Judges.
For
There's this woman,
chair and everything.
Jael. I'm probably pronouncing
It's
her name
we
wrong.
don't
I
think
don't
you're
know the
creepy.
Hebrew pronunciation. Jael.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
I think this was right after the fall of Jericho. So this king is running because he's like,
you don't have to have
his
a
whole
burning
army's
face.
been
We're
decimated.
for your run, Pietro. It's
and he
come join us at
hides
LPA.
in a tent of these people who he was like distantly
Pietro was on our
related to,
first live stream that we ever did.
and
LPA.
there's a woman there.
It's awesome.
And she's like, oh, come on in. I'll hide you. I'll hide you. You'll be okay. And she feeds him milk, is very mothering of him. And she knows who he is. And he falls asleep. And she picks up a tent spike and jams that thing through his head and hammers it through and kills him. And I think that the prophetess Deborah, because there was one female judge who was also
for anybody who's not already a member. You should come join us for the LP Alliance. I'm throwing our Discord in the chat.
Like a little too
I promise that the discussion we have in LPA is much better than anything that's coming out of this woman.
On the battle against these guys. I can't
to be clear, McArdle, not Amanda.
But I'm mostly remembering this.
The things coming out of Amanda are about the same as always.
The job of women back then, like, feminists who are screaming about like a 23-cent wage gap that doesn't technically exist. Women back then, all they were able to do was like have babies.
He's also been for the wanton slaughter of all of his
the
children.
men were off at war,
especially his faithful
doing
ones.
their thing. So
that's
who
what God
actually did
apparently
the hard
wanted,
labor
according to
around
her.
the tents? It was the women. And so, like, what
that is also correct. Liberty
what a trip.
centers.
All day long, you put up a tent, tear it down. Like you're a woman, and your job is to just hammer this peg into the ground, and then you have an opportunity to like completely.
I just imagine Rachel bellowing this right now.
And
my name is Deborah.
Laura,
and you would normally just
fine.
be using it every day, and you drive it into the head of a king.
We're king slayers.
It's possible for God to use women to do some really crazy stuff. He can use anything. He can use a frog. He can use a locust, and I think that God used me to help get Ross Rollberg out of prison. And I would invite you,
my God,
to entertain the idea that God could use you to do something incredibly profound. And it doesn't matter what your station is. It doesn't matter how experienced you are in politics. There's a ton that you can do. It doesn't matter what your background is. You can be a tent spiker too. And that's the energy that I'm taking into these midterms. If you are doing bad things in the Senate, if you're doing bad things in Congress, we're coming for your head with a proverbial tent spike.
Didn't you call yourself a kingmaker?
We are going to find areas of alignment with the Trump administration.
It's still on our fucking
with
page.
MAHA, with Bitcoin. We are going to do things like work to cut the federal budget, to codify Doge cuts, to get rid of swamp creatures, to get rid of people who want to protect disgusting secrets in the CIA, who are threatening, some of my friends over releasing things in the
as a Christian
files. We're coming for you.
I believe the Lord is all powerful.
Right with God.
I think that's pretty obvious to anybody in any Abrahamic religion or knows anyone who's in an Abrahamic religion. God does not need
get active
to set a woman upon a political party, to destroy that political party in such a way that she can then get one person freed from prison with the threat that he's going to be put to death if he does the same crime again.
You do not have to attend
plenty powerful to shake down the walls of the jail.
Do not waste your
There's an entire thing about shaking down the walls of a city from
kind of hang out.
It's a rather important story.
Hang out. We'll give you instructions on what to do. We'll make the most of your time. That's a big lesson that I've learned is we do not want to send all of our volunteers and all of our new members, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, to be part of the toxic ecosystem that is the LP.
What she's saying is that she doesn't want you to think independently about what you can do to be helpful. You need to wait for marching orders.
Really exciting, fun stuff. Then we're just going to unleash
anyone who is part of the Mises Caucus and didn't want to wait for marching orders left.
And everyone else that we've burned out over the past several years, I am sorry. I understand. This is a learning experience for all of us, and we're learning with you.
Exactly, Turtle.
And I want to
as a tool of God, it comes from your reverence and belief and everything, and being shown
for having faith in me, for staying out of useless drama,
not by being forced to do a thing.
It's
oh my goodness,
it's great. Byron,
I thought she looked different too. I don't think it's plastic surgery.
I think it's just the lack of glasses.
OG California.
I think part of it's that she's been sick for a very long time, and that's kept her very underweight. I think she's gained just enough weight that she doesn't look like she's dying anymore.
From the state of Montana,
which is a great thing.
Melissa is amazing. Primarying Lindsay would be awesome. I agree. I think there might be a Republican primarying him, but we need to dig in on Lindsey Graham. Bill Cassidy, is he reseeking in Louisiana? I know he's been giving Kennedy a tough time. Oh, Susan Collins.
It's the statist wall.
It is
the statist wall. Oh my gosh, she remains undefeated. Statist wall strikes again.
We have to really dig in and analyze and understand the ecosystem. Approach the primarying with a little bit of humility in one hand, and a tent spike in the other. Burnout is real. Absolutely,
she did say that y'all was the
California is so tough. You're the biggest state in the country, and it's just it's so challenging.
She mentioned y'all, but she
statist places
was also jail, y'all. I don't know how to say it.
Y'all,
and then
y'all.
I think that California should be doing what Colorado
look, she's the best mom ever.
Because I got to say, Colorado. Chef's kiss.
He's the best mom ever.
They get it. We need to be doing basically what I'm prescribing is that we do at the federal level what Hannah Goodman has done at the state level in Colorado.
Fail and get sued?
Pledge.
Join the GOP. I completely agree.
To agree to it. And then we need to get our guys if they're running against it. And it has to be a conversation with the state affiliates, right? So I invite the state affiliates to reach out. Reach out right now. Let's start talking about it.
That's a school, silly.
If your Senate candidate is going to drop out,
Yale is a
what
school.
Concessions do you want? We will have a concessions, a top issues and concessions draft shortly. We will have it up on the website. I want to hear from you. What issues do you think that senators need to pledge to at the federal level in exchange for not running someone against them? And if you are already running for Senate,
you do not bend
would
the
you need
knee
to see
to
in
serve your
order
country.
to
Do
consider
not bend the
dropping
knee
out?
to serve your God
What would you
other
need
than
to
to the
see?
God himself.
Ask a
You
lot.
do not bend the
Ask
knee
a
to
lot,
any
and we
man
will
as a
get into it,
libertarian.
right? And we'll work on
But
making
you
it
have to
realistic.
attack it on the go
but you
because
miss
she thinks it's
100% of the
pragmatic. So
shots
this
you
has
don't
to be
take.
hammered
So
home
go ahead
on
and
the
ask. Don't think I'm saying
pragmatic
like, oh, just shave
illiteracy
5% off
thereof.
the budget. No, dude, like make the ask.
Anyone in the
I
liberty
think
movement
Doge is a
knows
really big
you
one.
do not bend the knee to any
Has anyone else realized that
earthbound
more pedophiles are being
entity,
arrested now
period.
that Cash is head of the FBI? Yeah, absolutely. I think he's doing a fantastic job with that. I know everybody's really frustrated over the Epstein stuff. So am I.
Amanda, argue with this person.
He's a friend of mine, so I'm not gonna.
Even if he's correct.
Not him because
there
it looks like
I mean, there's only a J in modern Hebrew, and that's you make it by like
being arrested now that
putting
Cash is head of the
diacritics
FBI. Maybe
over
the
another
Libertarian Party
letter.
attendance will be different at the next
So
convention.
it's just for
never
long
know.
words that you would use.
Bending the knee for a man, not to a man.
I'm glad that MC is more removed from much of the rest. They've lost
So juvenile
Rothbard's drive
bluster
to make
is
change, and many
correct,
others went left socialist.
except
Yes,
for modern
there are
Hebrew,
a
but
lot
I
of
don't think that
Democrats
they
hovering around in the party. And to
are
be fair, I mean that's because most people
stupid.
came from one of the other two parties. But you know, Rothbard was correct. Like egalitarianism is a revolt against nature, and the tendency to behave model UN style in the LP and like make everything egalitarian and treat people
your
who
logical processes are
stab you in the
revolt
back
against
like as your
nature.
equal is like it's a toxic. It's like we're like codependent in this toxic relationship.
He doesn't
Like
understand what
someone's
egalitarianism
abusing you,
is
and
well
you're
enough
like,
to
I
make
have
this
to give them
argument.
a microphone to be fair. No, don't like
Well,
make dinner for narcissists.
She doesn't understand
I don't mean people who
Rothbard,
like take a lot of
so she's
selfies.
saying
I mean,
things
like,
from
malignant,
Rothbard out
like,
of context.
narcissistic personality disorder.
Like she's said
evil
before
kind.
that anyone who's a
We've
classical
been
liberal
way too nice to
is a
those people.
Democrat.
So we do need to run those people out,
she's
by
out
the
there.
way, and that is an initiative that I'll be spearheading, which is not to edit the bylaws, but to completely remove and replace entirely and knock out about 100 memberships at the national level.
Do you
And I
know
that's very
that
controversial
there's already a
read,
bylaws
but,
committee that's been
when
chosen?
have I shied
You're not
away
on
from
it.
controversy.
She also doesn't
Relations
understand
need to be voluntary.
that the way our organization
and so
is
many of us
structured,
have felt
you
like
can
we've
only
been held
change one bylaw at a
hostage.
time.
Any other
Every
really
single
good
one has to be
comments?
voted on independently. So, like a wholesale rewrite of the bylaws would take like
some
7
comments about
8s.
Christianity.
I'm gonna give
Good
her
international relations and neutrality. It just takes one good leader and foreign minister. Yes.
a little tip,
Yes.
which is that
Yes.
she's very rambly,
All of that.
and she
Don't
actually
forget
would
Esther.
benefit from having like
we could
outlined.
do it all day. We could do it
Esther's
all
my
day,
favorite.
my friend.
But would benefit from having outlines
that's
of what she plans to
my
say,
big announcement. I have
sound bites
part 2
that she wants to
There's
get
more
out.
announcements, but it's getting late.
This sounded like
I've
she
got a
didn't know what she
toddler
was going to
and
say.
some other stuff going on, and a website
I
that
hope
is getting redone, and a little announcement video that'll be
Part 2
forthcoming on
is
Thursday.
as
So
fulfilling as this
same
one's
time,
been.
Same place. Announcement part 2 will be happening on Thursday.
Same batshit channel
But again,
same
feel
batshit
free to blow
time
up the Mises Caucus
in 3
Twitter
batshit
DMs.
days.
Send us a message. Visit the website.
Okay,
We want
she
you
just
to join.
Told
If you
you
wanna
to
join
blow
the
up
party,
the
but you
DMs of the Mises
Don't know
Caucus.
if you're a good fit for the caucus. I encourage you to do that. Let us be your ambassadors to the party. If you are Maha, if you're like, I don't know how into Austrian economics
The announcement is that she is the chair of the Mises Caucus
but
now.
I'm opposed to the COVID stuff and I want to shrink the government. You're in the right place, my friend. We welcome you.
We are not
We
just
will
about
be
shrinking the
discussing
government
Maha's
as far as the number of
Maha
people.
doesn't want to shrink the
People can do what
government.
they're
They
gonna
just
do,
want to
but
have
we
the
want a
government
nice,
being
official,
authoritarian in specific
something you can
ways.
really sink your teeth into.
They
We
want
will
to
be discussing
consolidate
that
the
very
power
soon,
in
probably,
more
with some
specific
other Maha
areas.
influencers. So that's it for
Heiss
tonight.
has not been the chair for a bit. It's been David Hein.
Enjoy.
Aaron Hein?
Let's all be friends, except for the handful of people I
David
booted
Hines?
from the chat. Sorry,
Anyway.
you're crazy. And
ironic.
let's
Except
advance
for the
liberty.
more people watching us than you. Sure.
See ya.
Jesus.
Okay, we've got a few minutes before you have to take off.
Yeah, but I'm pulling us back to the main stage on that one.
Okay.
Um,
So, yeah, no, they're switching on and off. While she was making the announcement, Frey then Heiss was driving for Uber Eats. I want
Aaron
to
Harris is right. Thank you, Meredith.
address a couple of things. The first being the Should we go kingmaker strategy? Should we go like you're never gonna change politics as a radical? Because they're kind of intertwined, right? The kingmaker strategy is flawed because, and again, I wrote this and I continue to say it because it's a line. It only works once and it doesn't work once. What that means is that you are essentially gambling on capital that you don't have. By the numbers, especially now, since we've hemorrhaged a bunch of members, there are not enough libertarians to make a dent in the electoral margin. Not enough Libertarian Party members to make a dent in the electoral margin. If everyone who had voted for Joe Jorgensen had voted for Donald Trump this time around, or rather had voted for Harris, Harris would not have won. They were not influential in terms of the margin of error whatsoever. So that's untrue. We don't have capital to gamble with, right? We don't have anything to stake. When a party learns that you are able to, or that you're willing to capitulate to them on a race in order to get concessions, first of all, they don't have to give you those concessions, right? They can sign an agreement. You don't make agreements with status. You don't trust status at their word because their word is never their own. They can say whatever they want. When they get in office, they can do whatever they want. And the fact is that you can't then primary them because you have no power, because you gave it away when you proved to them and to everyone else that you are willing to forfeit your political capital in order to get something else that is not actually going to happen. Only works once and it doesn't work once. When we talk about pragmatism and we talk about principle, these two things are not disassociated. And the reason that people tend to believe that they are is because there's this misread of what pragmatism really is, right? And there's a misread of what principle really is. Principle isn't me shrieking from the rafters about objectivism or like writing an essay on Thomas Paine, right? Principle is active. And
all of them.
And the fact is that, right. The fact is that when you are able to galvanize social change, because you're never going to convince powerful people to give up power. You can't work within the halls of power to take power away from the people who are there. It's not going to work. It's not going to happen because they all have their pet issues. They thrive. They need to maintain the status quo because the status quo is what got them there. So if you only work in the institutions of power, you are working with people who are dedicated to preserving the status quo and retaining their power, and maybe letting go of certain other bits and pieces of power that are then seized back after they get out of office. The only way that you actually prompt real change is through social momentum. And you don't build social momentum by distancing yourselves and taking yourself out of society and into political institutions. You do it through grassroots efforts. You do it through the media. You do it through discussions. You do it through university systems. You do it in society. You do it through mass movements. That's how you do all of this. It is a cultural social change that is then forcing the political institutions to capitulate, because now there's a mass of people who are demanding change and they're not going to relent unless you give them what they are demanding, because otherwise they will take everything from you. That is what you have to stoke as a member of a political movement and as a member of a political party. That is why radicalism wins every time against pragmatism. That's why pragmatists get swallowed by other major parties and fade into irrelevance. The minor party's job is to be radical. The minor party's job is to fight for social persuasion that forces political change. By ourselves, we don't have that, which is why coalitions are important. I agree with Angela in rhetoric there. I don't agree with the way that she's gone about building them, but it's why minor party coalitions are so important. Because we've got, 7,500 members, we can't do this alone.
Right.
We have to build coalitions with the kinds of people, most of whom she hates. And
as a quick interjection,
Yes.
to answer Dallas's question, and for all the people who are just coming in and are listening to us now instead of having watched that dumpster fire, the 45-minute video can be summed up as: she is now the Mises chair. She intends to push for the Libertarian Party to work more directly with the Republican Party. She wants to continue to back RFK Jr., and she openly admitted that she was hoping that Dave Smith would step down and out of the way to allow RFK Jr. to carry us on his coattails up to the Trump administration. I'm sorry to block your speech on this one, Amanda. If you want to go back into it, feel free to get fiery again. Otherwise, I'm going to start to get fiery.
No, you're absolutely fine. I just want to I apologize to everyone who is asking whether I'm autistic. I'm not. I do have ADHD, and I have had severe anxiety and panic and obsessive compulsive disorder, but I do not have an ASD. So I apologize for that. Kyle, if you want to go off, you can.
All right. So so this is a special announcement, right? So this is a thing where she is prepared for this. She knows what she's coming in to say. And so, like, from a political strategist standpoint, from a anyone who's ever given any kind of speech standpoint, this has been prepared somewhere. Like, Amanda and I have talked about this before when we actually take the time to prepare something in advance. Like, Amanda takes the time and writes things out and works those things through. I go into the mirror and stare at myself because, how better to get fiery than to look at someone you hate and sit there and fire things off. So I know how I want to say things. I know how I want them to come across. And this is a woman who has been the chair of the Libertarian Party for 3 years. She was the chair of LPA Los Angeles for 2 years. She's supposed to have been through all this. She's supposed to understand how to talk to people. She has told everyone that she's this fiery, burning speaker and everything. And she took 45 minutes to say 3 things that are summed up in like under 20 seconds.
4. There are the bangs at the beginning. She has bangs.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
She did admit up front that she is a woman in a bad time in her life because she has bangs. So it's been absolutely absurd. It's like, I don't expect everyone to speak off the cuff for things as fluidly as like Amanda does, right? It's not a skill that everyone like comes to as naturally. There's a reason that I speak a lot of times a little slower and will pause and think through words, because if you don't know the next thing you're going to say, you need some way to add those pauses while still sounding fluid. She rambled for 45 minutes and didn't say anything of substance. The thing that she basically said is that one of the chairs for life of the Mises Caucus has stepped down, and she's now that person. And she sees it as a higher step, and a step given from God, apparently, than being the chair of the Libertarian Party, which should give you all the information you need to understand about her. She literally believes that her work with Trump is more valuable than the entire Libertarian Party, than the Liberty Movement, than all of the people she was serving, because it's a service role. You don't get paid in that role. It's not there for your empowerment. It's there for our empowerment, which I know that's a little collectivisty and things, but sorry, it's a political party. You've joined into a collectivist environment.
Voluntarily, yes.
Right. Adam's got a fair point. Maybe she'll sell the Mises Caucus out to another caucus. That's would true. Be like her.
You know what? I think the Radical Caucus should start beckoning. We should start making googly eyes and ask her and make a deal with her, right? And then break the deal, because as anyone who studies politics and such matters knows, you make deals and then you break them. It's totally fine. We did, in fact, Poggers, have Stephen and Nikayla on a little while ago. It was a good talk, and hopefully we'll have them on again soon. Right. So yeah,
I only got about Tree Fitty. Yeah. Don't you give that goddamn Loch Ness Monster any more money, Amanda.
What if I say that I'll pay it from crypto whales, and the crypto whales are coming. I will just, I'll promise that the crypto whales will pay the money, will pay the 200K, take the Mises Caucus. No, that's the other thing, is a political party is the sum of the efforts of its members, and a political movement is the sum of the efforts of its members. We believe in a merit-based system where when you put work into the party and the movement, you get that work back, right? And I think that this is a good way to structure voting. I think it's a better way than just to like whoever can pay to get to convention, right? And we're working on that. We're working on how that can actually be adjusted in bylaws. But it is the sum total of its members and its members' efforts. When you tell people to just sit back and wait for marching orders, you're recruiting mercenaries, is what you're doing. You're recruiting people who are not going to get involved in the actual movement and who are just going to wait for you to do what you tell them to do. But then what's going to happen? This is going to be a short-term engagement if it is at all. It's going to be effective at all. Because what ends up happening is that they do what you tell them to, but they don't actually develop any of the buy-in, any of the ideological buy-in. So they're not able to force that change in their own lives. They're not able to do that on their own. And so the political party's progress stagnates at the point of the person who brought them in. Now, I'm perfectly willing to believe that's what McArdle wants, but that's not a way to have a viable liberty movement. What we do at LP Alliance is very different, right? Like, we are trying to bring people into the movement and into the party as well, but we do it through saying, okay, what are you good at? What do you love to do? What matters to you? Okay, let's build a space for you to build that. And let's build a space for you to do that with activism and in the movement.
So Joe's question here is going to be the last one that I have a chance to answer because I have a hard 9 o'clock deadline. What do we do to make the LP libertarian again? Exactly what LP Alliance is working on. Exactly what the people who are on the LNC are trying to coordinate for, which is why a lot of them are working with us. It's you get out the vote. You work with libertarians from around the world to make this a movement everywhere. You get out into every state. You get out the raw feeling and meaning that libertarianism is, because it is a thing that's a little different for every individual. It's a thing that has to be remembered. There is no one correct libertarian ideology. That's where all the jokes of "I'm the only real libertarian" come from. The whole idea is that there is something in this movement for everyone, because everyone has experienced the horrific tyranny of the government. Everyone has felt it. Everyone's dealt with it. And so we have to get that message out. On an individual level, tell your friends. On a level, if you have more money and you don't have friends, I'm sorry for you, but go ahead and donate that to me. And by me, I mean lp.org/donate. Give it, help us in LP Alliance. Hop in and help with the money for things like web development and everything else that like cost a lot.
Organize demonstrations with us. I'll tell you, you can do
Yes.
that. That is something that we want to be talking about more. But we need people, and we need help in the planning stages. So again, I've said before on Business List, we've got to lead what is happening right now socially, because if we don't, someone else will. I don't like the other options. I don't like any of the other options. So we need to be those leaders that are helping to organize this wave that is coming. It
legitimately get involved with us. We are part of groups that are organizing protests or organizing demonstrations this entire summer. We will be continuing those throughout the next several years if it requires it.
And right for the torch. So the torch is coming back online in probably around a week or so, and we are taking submissions. It is our movement journal, and we're very happy about it. Anything libertarian related, whether that's party news, party strategy, libertarian thought theory, you can send stuff to me, and I will get back to you, because we're making a movement journal. It's pretty cool.
As the last little like tease here, the journal did just get a pretty big name in writing for the libertarian movement this morning.
Not just me.
It's true. One Derek Willis, also known as ANCAP Air, has announced that he will be putting all of his essays on the Torch. So we've got some fabulous writers in Liberty. We've got, I mean, like Amanda alone is former Reason and Cato, and
I was not full-time staff at Reason. Let's not, in case I don't want to pat my wrist, but yeah.
She was secretly Nick Gillespie. Like
this
is what Nick looks like when he doesn't have his mask on. But unfortunately, I have to bounce, and none of the other admin people have come in, so this is going to be the end.
Okay, I want to tell Susan very briefly. You get the Torch. It's free. It is online right now. The website's not up, but it will be it'll be torch.media or thetorch.media. And again, right now it's not there, but that is where you're going to be able to find it, and hopefully you'll write with us too. So
it's watch all this week for more LP Alliance stuff. We are on every day this week. There is so much going on. We're going to be at conventions all over the place coming up soon. I'll be at Florida this coming weekend. Amanda left me all alone, but
prelims to write.
We a lot of cool stuff's coming up. A lot of cool things are going to be announced both by us and the LNC and LP coming soon. I promise that tomorrow is going to be an awesome day. Like Phil Ryan just reminded us, because Daryl Davis is going to be on. The man with a plan who's been breaking down the KKK for decades. Next week we have Ben Weir on. We've got things coming on. We're going to have a stream next week, one way or the other, about the LNC mentioning this special investigative committee report.
And when Angela comes back on the 5th, we'll be here with you you'll be our emotional support chat.
Yeah, as always, thank you very much from all of us at LPA. Have a good one.